Hello, guys. This is Kevin Brinkman. Uh, I'd like to start off by saying hello to everyone here listening to my channel. I'm starting a business, or I'm about to, but I'm starting small. Uh, Today I will talk about what I will be doing. I'm going to start advocacy, disability and rights, vocational rights for the blind and disabilities, and gaming accessibility for the blind. As you may know, there's a lot of games that are not accessible on the iPhone and Android. However, I plan to speak at conferences later on when my business is really large and big. And if the organizations do ask me to come to a conference and everything, that would be great. I'd love to start this business as soon as I can, since right now I don't have a job, so I'm gonna do self-contracting business. So that means I'm on my own schedule. I do conferences when I need to, and yes. So what I'm gonna cover today is gaming accessibility. And before we go any further, I'm gonna interview a friend of mine we just met by chance on the airplane yesterday when I was coming home from vacation. So here's why I'm gonna cover accessibility for gaming. Not a lot of people know that games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, and others are not accessible on the PC or on the phone. But we have Mortal Kombat, and that's the only accessible one we know so far for the iPhone. What we don't know is why developers are not including voiceover or talkback, which are screen readers, into their systems when they code their apps. We also don't know why some games like golfing or bowling or any sports games are not accessible either. Now, you may be thinking, oh, they're not responding to me, they're blah, blah, blah. It's not that they don't care. They don't, but then again, they're too busy to listen to your feedback, which is not acceptable. Because gaming should be for also the blind, but also the sighted and visually impaired. Now, there's one game on a PC I haven't tried yet, and I don't even know if I want to try it. But potentially, what kind of games are you going for? What kind of games are blind people going for? Like shooter games, sword games, any of that? I mean, honestly, there's gotta be way more games for blind and also sighted and visually impaired. Now we have the basic Table X, Dice World, any of those games too. But what if there was more? See, that's the thing. If you developers are watching this, or if you are, I suggest looking into learning how to code voiceover, implant voiceover into your apps. Now, since we just went over gaming, I think there's another topic we can go over today since we just finished. there's been issues with blind and disability rights. One example is some amusement parks or even some bars, which I hate to say it, but I had a friend who tried to go on the rides, but the person at the fair, the people at the fair that helps with the rides and stuff, they told her, oh, you can't go on the rides because you're a liability issue. Blind people are not liability issues. They can go on their own on rides. It's just a matter of if you want to be independent or if you don't want to be independent, which she wanted to go on her rides by herself. Now, for the bars, there was a bar in Australia I heard of from another friend that let's just say she went to the bar herself and basically they said, oh, you need a caregiver to get alcohol and things, which that's not true because some people that are really independent, they like to drink alcohol like everyone else, or virgin margaritas or whatever they have at the bar. So, okay, there's some things like being independent and living independently that there's some eating disorders or something like that they can't, there's paperwork that says you can't really be independent with this eating disorder, that eating disorder. But what if, like, so we need to make more changes on that because, I don't know, there's just some things that need to be fixed, with that, the whole system of the blind. And that leads me into my next topic right now, jobs. If someone has a dream about being a flight attendant or being like, or doing something that requires 20/20 vision, which I think there's accommodations, but the Society for Decided and the people who apply people for jobs, like if they vote for those people to be hired, they don't understand that blind people, even if FAA and other organizations, not just for airplanes, but like, yeah, what I'm trying to say is they're not including blind people. They only want to include only the sighted and the people who do not have autism, which in this case, and also this also goes for military. You can't really. There should be a way for people not to get in the military, fighting and all that. They should have work too. Blind people and autistic people, they could do it. There's accommodations. I mean, honestly, there's accommodations for everything. You just gotta think outside the box. And here's one thing that really, really annoys me. There's one thing, whenever I talk to my staff at my day program or my group home about being a flight attendant, they said, oh, you gotta be realistic. There's no one that's gonna hire you to be a flight attendant when you're blind. And if you flight attendants or people who are the boss of flight attendants are watching this, you gotta make a change. accommodate blind people, accommodate autistic people, even disabilities that are still high functioning to be flight attendants. Because who knows? One day, maybe a blind flight attendant will be feasible. You just gotta think outside the box and make changes. Now, I'm gonna do interviews, but I probably won't start till February. However, I might have to do interviews with some people, so I will need to contact my interviewer to tell him that I may need to do an interview first with another person before I could do him. I know I said I would do his first, but I'm trying to start this as soon as I can. If you do have any questions, comment down below, subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this video. And if I do say or things like that, that just means I'm thinking of what to say. And if you don't like what I'm saying, think before you comment. Because this is my first time. I'm trying to put up a podcast/video for you guys today, and I'm trying to make sure it's like the best I can do. And sorry if my camera's not pointing at me. I'm trying to point at me, but it's kind of hard. But hey, if you do have any comments, and if some organizations would love to comment on my video to ask me to speak, I'd love to. If it's in person. Because I'd like to start this business as soon as I can. Being a spokesperson for disability rights and everything. And if they'd like to interview me, I would love to be interviewed. And I can put it on my channel. So, okay guys, this is it. I am gonna go now, but I hope you guys enjoy this presentation, and see you next time on my channel. Bye-bye.